man walks into a room full of people who hate him. He smiles, he asks their names, he brings them biscuits, and somehow, by the end of it, every single one of them is a better person than when they walked in. That's not a fairy tale. There's actual science behind why it works. Number one thing that makes him different from every leader you've ever seen? He believes in people before they give him a single reason to. Day 1. New job. Locker room full of professional footballers who don't respect him, don't want him there, and have already written their resignation letters. The other half are timing how long until he cries. And what does he do? He doesn't give a speech. He doesn't establish dominance. He doesn't pull out a PowerPoint presentation about his qualifications. He brings biscuits, actual homemade biscuits, every single morning to his boss's office. No agenda, no request, just biscuits. This is called unconditional positive regard, a concept developed by psychologist Carl Rogers. It means treating someone as worthy of care and attention, not because they've earned it, not because they deserve it, but because that's simply how you operate. And here's what Rogers found after decades of research. When a person genuinely feels seen, not evaluated, not judged, just seen, something in them begins to change. Not dramatically, not immediately, but something shifts, like a rusty door that finally gets oiled. Now here's where it gets interesting. Ted has this player, his most selfish, most arrogant, most difficult player. The kind of guy who looks at himself in the mirror and genuinely says, "Stunning." Most coaches would fight that. Ted doesn't fight it. Ted sees something underneath it. He sees a person who was never taught how to be part of something bigger than himself. So instead of fighting the arrogance, he works with the person underneath it, slowly, patiently, with a level of kindness that should frankly be illegal. A massive study, one of the most important in modern workplace psychology, tried to figure out what actually makes teams perform at their highest level. They looked at talent, strategy, experience, the number of impressive degrees people had on their walls. None of it mattered. The single biggest predictor of team performance was psychological safety. The feeling that you can say something wrong, try something that fails, look stupid in front of your colleagues, and not get destroyed for it. Ted Lasso builds this without even knowing it has a name. He just does it, like breathing. Except his breathing probably smells like biscuits. And then there's the growth mindset, the belief, developed by Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck after decades of research, that failure is not a verdict, it's data. His team loses, his marriage ends. His anxiety catches up with him in one of the most honest portrayals of a panic attack on mainstream television. A grown man, restaurant bathroom floor, dark swirling panic, and instead of pretending it didn't happen, he does the bravest thing. He goes to therapy. Because that's what growth actually looks like, not a highlight reel, the bathroom floor. Here's the move that changes everything though, the space. Between something happening and your reaction to it, there is a gap. Most people have no gap. Something happens and they've already sent the angry text, already said the thing they'll regret, already reacted. Ted Lasso has a gap, not because he's superhuman, because he's practiced it. He pauses, he breathes, and before he reacts, he asks himself one question. What do I actually believe about this person? Not what did they do, not what does everyone say about them. What do you, right now, actually believe they're capable of? Because here's what 60 years of psychology keeps confirming. People become who you treat them as. Treat someone like a problem, and they become a problem. Treat someone like they're capable of more, and slowly, awkwardly, sometimes embarrassingly, they become more. Don't underestimate the biscuits. Research on relationships found that stable, healthy connections run at a ratio of 5 positive interactions to every 1 negative. 5. Ted Lasso doesn't give you a motivational speech. He gives you a biscuit. Small, consistent, no agenda. 5 to 1. There's that dart scene. His boss's ex-husband, the kind of man who irons his smug smile before he leaves the house, challenges Ted to a darts game, expects an easy win. Ted misses a few on purpose, lets him think he's ahead, then finishes perfectly, and quotes Walt Whitman, "Be curious, not judgmental." Because the man never once stopped to wonder who Ted actually was. He judged, and that comfortable, lazy habit of judging instead of getting curious cost him the game. It costs most people much more. Research on happiness shows that about 40% of how happy you are comes down to intentional activity, what you choose to do, think, and practice. That's your 40%, not your circumstances, not your genetics, not your past, you. Ted Lasso spends his 40% on other people, not because he's a saint, because he decided, probably in Kansas, probably while eating a biscuit, that this is who he was going to be. He didn't win the championship, no confetti, no trophy, no dramatic stadium moment. But his angriest player found a new purpose. His most selfish player learned what team means. His boss, who hired him specifically to fail, learned to trust again. Not because he gave a speech, because he showed up every single day with the same warmth, the same curiosity, and an unreasonable amount of biscuits. That's the whole thing. That's the entire secret. Be curious, not judgmental. Believe in people before they believe in themselves. Run a 5-to-1 ratio in every relationship. And for the love of everything, bring the biscuits.